In a world where...
Is this thing on?
Barely.
This episode of the Just John podcast is brought to you by the random fact that Stan Lee's original name for the Black Panther was the Coal Tiger, and two of the most amazing patrons on the planet. Find out how you can become a patron of the show by heading on over to justjohnpodcast.com/support. What up, homies? I'm your host, John Medina, and this, my fine ladies and gentlemen, is the Just John podcast, episode 35 for the week of April 23rd. Today on the show, Spider-Man, Deadpool, emojis, and more.
What year is it?
So if you haven't noticed already, I've kind of got a little head cold or allergies going on. I'm not sure which one it is for sure. I've never had allergies before, but my dad has allergies, so I'm thinking I may be growing into it, which is extremely unfortunate. I'd much rather it be a cold, because if it's a cold, then I just get over it and move on with life. If it's allergies, then I'm going to probably have it for the rest of my life, which would just kind of suck. I also want to talk about Google Play Music for just a minute. The Just John podcast is now available on Google Play Music. You can head on over to my Twitter and find a link there, or you can go to justjohnpodcast.com, and on the homepage down at the bottom, Google Play Music link has been added to all the other links down there. Now, if you're an Android user and you're trying to find it on your phone, it may not be available yet because it's taking a little bit of time to come to the phones, which... You know, I'm a big fan of Google, and I love Google. But to be completely honest, if you weren't ready to have the podcasts on the phone app, why would you even start the Google Play Music podcast thing until the app was ready to go? I mean, 90% of the people that are listening to podcasts are using their phone. Eventually, it'll be on the app. We just kind of have to wait for that to happen, but it should happen pretty soon. So without further ado, let's actually get started with the show, shall we?
The local news of the week.
SpiderMan Homecoming. The next Spider-Man movie finally has a title. Last week at CinemaCon in Las Vegas, which, if you don't know what CinemaCon is, basically it's just a big Comic-Con for movie theater owners. Anyway, so they released the title. It's going to be called Spider-Man Homecoming, and Sony Pictures chairman Tom Rothman confirmed at CinemaCon that the title was designed to reference its high school-age star, but also to show that Peter Parker is trying to find a way home. I think that this title is actually kind of hinting at something else. While you can try to say that it's talking about Peter Parker trying to find his way home after the events that happened in Captain America Civil War, because no doubt they're going to tie that in, I think that it's a little bit of a play on the fact that Spider-Man is, while not solely under the control of Marvel Studios now, Marvel Studios now has a hand in it, and I think they're playing on that a little bit too. So they played a little bit of footage at CinemaCon for the new Spider-Man Homecoming movie, and apparently Peter Parker was coming home and his Aunt May was speaking with Tony Stark. Now this is awesome because for the first time we are going to be able to see Spider-Man interact with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's going to be super exciting. Another thing that's really exciting about this movie is we're not going to have to deal with another origin story for Spider-Man. If you don't know how Spider-Man became Spider-Man by now, simply Google search it and read the Wikipedia article on how Spider-Man became Spider-Man, because we've already had 2 different Spider-Man series come out that explained how Spider-Man became Spider-Man. Not only that, comic books have explained it. TV shows, maybe not TV shows, but, cartoon TV shows, I'm sure. But it's just, I'm tired of the whole origin story for all of the popular characters. Now, granted, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, all that kind of stuff, cool. Yeah, we need origin stories for that because the general movie-going audience does not know how they became who they are. And after all, these movies are made to appeal to a lot more than just the comic book nerd party. These movies are made to reach as many people as they can. And so, yeah, okay, I understand. Do the origin stories for the lesser known characters, but the big blockbuster characters, we don't need the origin stories anymore. The movie is going to come out on July 7th of 2017, so just a little over a year away, which is super exciting. And I'm excited to see how Tom Holland and this new iteration of Spider-Man are going to play in Captain America Civil War. And I think it'll be a nice little teaser for what we're going to see in SpiderMan Homecoming.
Because I'm going to put my nutsack on your drum set.
Another thing that happened at CinemaCon last week was Deadpool 2 was fully confirmed. So we kind of already knew that Deadpool 2 was coming because after breaking all the records and earning more than $757 million worldwide, why wouldn't you make a sequel? I mean, it would just be bad business to not make a sequel. One of the cool things about this is that Stacy Snyder, who's a Fox executive, confirmed that Ryan Reynolds and director Tim Miller would both be returning for the Deadpool sequel. We don't know a lot else about it, but I talked about it a while back that Cable was probably going to be the villain in Deadpool 2. We still don't know a whole lot about that, but it doesn't matter because we know that a Deadpool 2 is coming, and that is enough for me.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Another super exciting thing happened this week. The first teaser trailer for Marvel's Doctor Strange arrived. It was strange, to say the least. In the trailer, we get a closer look at Benedict Cumberbatch in his role as Dr. Stephen Strange, the next Sorcerer Supreme. And one of the things I noticed about this trailer is that it is dark. It's a lot darker. I mean, it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not like DC dark, but it's a lot darker than any of the other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that we've had. And so this is going to be refreshing in that it's going to be a little bit off the beaten path, because while I love the Marvel movies, and don't get me wrong, a lot of them follow the same exact recipe, the humor and things like that, and the happy-go-lucky majority of the time. And Doctor Strange is going to, from the trailer, I get a feel that it's going to be a little deeper than that and a little bit more troubling than that. That Doctor Strange is going to go through a lot of depression, anxiety, and different things that a lot of the other Marvel superheroes could go through, but they don't depict it on screen as much. Doctor Strange is going to be directed by Scott Derrickson, and it looks like from the trailer that it's going to basically go close to the character's origin story. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, John, seriously, you literally just talked about how you don't want origin stories. But remember, I did say I like origin stories for lesser known characters. Go on your Facebook right now and say, without Google searching anything, how many of you can tell me Doctor Strange origin story? And see how many people are actually going to be able to do it. Because a lot of people don't even know who Doctor Strange is. Doctor Strange is kind of in the same realm of Deadpool. A lot of people didn't know who Deadpool was until Ryan Reynolds got all, announcing it and doing all this kind of stuff. And a lot of them had maybe heard of it, but didn't really know who Deadpool was. And the same thing is going to happen with Doctor Strange. You're going to see a lot of people get all hyped and super excited that a Doctor Strange movie is coming out, but they're not going to know a whole lot about Doctor Strange. And so we really do need to establish his origin story, which, for those of you that don't know, I will condense it super fast. He was crippled in an accident. He was a neurosurgeon, but he lost the use of his hands because of the accident. So he goes on a quest to find a way to repair his hands. He meets the Ancient One, which I think in the movie is played by Tilda Swinton, and he goes on a journey to master the mystic arts. Now, he is super powerful. He is one of the most powerful characters, and I think he's going to play a huge, huge role in Avengers Infinity War. That's why they're introducing him now, and I think that this movie, the reason why this movie has a darker tone is because it's going to try to separate the strange from the science, and that we're actually going to get to see a little bit of the mystical side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially if we're going to start getting into a lot of space, Infinity Gauntlets, all of these different things. We're going to have to start to break a little bit into the lesser known, the unknown, the science cannot explain it yet type thing. And I think that's what they're trying to do with this.
I guess you could say things are getting pretty serious.
Video emojis are here. Brace yourselves, you guys. Stationary, one-size-fits-all emojis are so yesterday, y'all. Okay? Android Snapchat users can now attach emojis to specific objects in their videos that will move, rotate, and scale automatically as the object moves throughout the snap. This is really, really cool, and don't worry, you iOS guys. That is, and gals, don't get me wrong. No, I know that not just every person that owns an iPhone is a dude, okay? All you guys and gals that have your iPhones, you're gonna get the update soon, but right now it's only on Android. So if you don't have an Android phone, go find a friend that does and check it out because it's actually really cool. But you have to add the emoji through the sticker button. You can't do the default emoji on your keyboard. You have to go up and hit the little emoji sign up at the top in the right hand corner, and then you hold your thumb down on it or whatever and drag it to impose it on whatever you want. So like somebody else's face or something like that. I've already talked about the redesign that Snapchat went through a couple months ago that did the stickers, changed the chat, made the video easier. It also made your stories a lot easier to go through and view everybody's stuff. And I think that this is on track with Snapchat's goal, which Snapchat's goal is to bring in, as I've said before, the olds, but not just the olds, the youngs that just don't use Snapchat that often. I got Snapchat like 2.5, 3 years ago when it first started to get big. I downloaded it and I goofed around with it and I used it a lot when I first got it because it was something new and it was cool. And then I slowly started to use Snapchat less and less. But when the filters came out, I started using Snapchat a lot more again because I thought the filters were really cool. The face swap, I've had so much fun with the face swap, and a lot of people have. And the video chat being easy to use is something that I think is going to help keep people in the realm of Snapchat. You want to video chat someone, you can now do it through Snapchat. Granted, you could do it through Facebook Messenger, Slack, pretty much every messaging service in America besides your default text message service can do the video chat. But Snapchat is still trying to create something that will attract users, that will get people to keep using their service. Because if you don't keep using their service, they're not going to be able to monetize, they're not going to make money, and they're not going to be able to stay in business. So I understand what they're doing, and I think they're having a lot of cool and creative and good ideas. And so keep doing what you're doing, Snapchat, because you're definitely keeping my attention.
This is against my civil rights.
All right. We are about halfway through the show, which means it's music time. If you are or you know an underground artist that you would like to have featured on the show, please submit your suggestions to justjohnpodcast.com/song, or you can message me on Twitter. You can email justjohnpodcast@gmail.com. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Just say, hey, John, this is a cool song. Maybe you could play it on your show. The song that I'm playing today is called Coffee Cool, and it's by The Good Husbands. I technically have a clean rating on iTunes and all the other different podcast apps because I don't cuss a lot in my show. And so I do want to throw out a little bit of a warning. So if you got kids in the room and you don't want them to hear it, definitely pause it or have them leave or whatever. And this song is a special birthday request from Nick Levin. Happy birthday, dude.
It works out, she works out, been doing her Pilates. Right when she whispers, go in me, is that time that I pull outie. Yeah, I'm a kid at heart, I don't need another kid around me. Just a fat booty that roundly talks loudly, now that's astounding. I'm a simple dude, I'm a simple guy. Simple clothes and my simple ride. Need a simple girl that's into girls that simply love that she's simply mine. Girls, I love them and keep them buzzing. It's nothing because deep down all every girl really wants is a good husband. Cool. Nagging it, yeah. Take time. Can I get a little peace? In the air in this world, dancey twirl. Open my mouth, inferno. Can't let me down. Now I stop my time yet to just sit on the ground when I want to feel a little breath. Speak to the sound of the beat. No, we ain't stopping outside the store. You got 5 minutes and you're begging for more. Well, I might have a little advice. Keep you out of the jungle and city that bites the hand of the Commonwealth, man. Put your ass ice, bitches time to help with a nice pick. Used to be smearing a lipstick, now it's hold up, hit this. If I wanna listen to the sound of the lips, if you don't turn on the melon and jello with this kid, if I'm not a whiz kid, then I'm sure that my partner is. Good husbands, make this shit up. Coffee talk, cigarettes lit in the parking lot. Bullshit about how tall times are hard, no job, no car. Every day feels like Mardi Gras. That's chaos, dog. You call this life. How you gonna fly when you're scared of heights? Got air at heart like a right? Lady like still paying off tuition, still relying on the ambition, man. That's catty wampus. All I want is my team playing in the green like Boston. A little bit of air I see like Carson. Check the drill, man. I can go on and on, Burt Gilman, but I'll root go in for the kill. Yeah, never gonna stop, never gonna quit, gonna run to the top, then I'm gonna have a sit down with the man with the big crown tip, toe to the length of the precipice and get dug in like a specialist. Hit my target extra quick, how I lay it on fucking extra thick. Rookie go sit where the extras is, when I get my demons out like an exorcist. We in, these MCs exit in, level-headed devil, I'm a rebel with a cause. Rounds at the bar, rounds of applause, husbands got it going on. We making hits, going,
it's gone. Deep shot to center field, just too far for the outfielder. One lucky fan gets to go home with the game ball today.
All right, again, that song was called Coffee Cool, and it was by The Good Husbands. And as is usual, if you enjoyed that song and you want to support The Good Husbands, you can find out all the different ways how by looking in the show notes below.
I have an announcement to make to y'all, to the people of America.
Emoji Misinterpretation. So you can now put your emojis on your video for your Snapchat, but people might not understand what you're trying to say and they might misinterpret your feelings about the situation. So emojis fill in where your words are lacking, right? Or they just complement the word, like you want to express how excited you are about a taco. So you say taco and throw up the little taco emoji because it's the icing on the cake, right? It just finishes it perfectly. So people are using emojis left and right, but at the same time, other people are interpreting that emoji differently. So according to a new study from the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, people are interpreting these emojis differently, and it's even happening all over the same operating system because emojis do look different on Android than they do on iPhone and Windows Phone maybe. I don't know. Who even has Windows Phone anymore? You know what? Tweet at me if you have a Windows Phone because I want to see what your emojis look like screenshot or something, and tweet those at me, at JohnnyM_Revo. The example that they used in the study was the grinning face with smiley eyes emoji. The researchers surveyed online respondents on how they interpreted the emoji's sentiment, rating it on a scale from -5 to +5. 70% of people put the face in the negative area, around a -3, but 27% said that they thought it was a more positive emotion. So researchers think that the emojis are interpreted differently because of their subtle little details, like the shades in their cheeks or the slants in their eyebrows. Because after all, we are creatures of patterns, right? We see patterns and we take those to mean whatever the rest of the pattern means. It's why people see Jesus in their toast and weird things in the clouds. And I've talked about it before, and I think this applies to it. If you're used to seeing the way eyebrows are shaped when they're happy, when someone is happy versus they're sad, and these different phone manufacturers depict that differently with different shades and different, they're pointed in different directions and things like that, you're going to interpret it as either happy or sad, or, more happy or more sad than the other. if you look at the different emojis on the different operating systems, they do look a lot different. And I could understand why somebody is getting, or, gets confused by it or misinterprets it. But a lot of it has to do with the age of internet communication, right? We communicate with people on the internet that we've never met and never talked to in person, and all they do is read our words. And so that's where the misinterpretation really, really comes from. If I send an emoji to somebody that I know personally, even if it looks different on their device, they're more likely to understand what I mean because they know the way that I talk and the things that I do and the type of person I am. And it's hard to know that about everybody on the internet. So I think this is just a problem that we're going to have to learn to address in the age of digital communication.
Don't tase me, bro! Don't tase me!
YouTube 360 Live is here. Imagine if you're a fan of anything that's done live, sports, concerts, anything like that, something that you would like to see, you can't always go. For example, those courtside seats that you want to go have, those are limited by the laws of physics. You have to be there, you have to have the monies to go there and to purchase that seat. And sometimes you just can't make it. It's just not always logical for us. But have no fear. YouTube has the answer that we have been looking for. Earlier last week, Neil Mohan, an executive at Google and YouTube, announced that live streaming 360-degree video is available. So now anyone with just their phone can have that front row experience without having to be there. This announcement arrived just 1 week after Facebook said that it was expanding its live streaming and had its own 360-degree camera design, although it can't yet support the combination of live and 360. But something peculiar that we're seeing is that the two biggest players in online video are racing towards the same goal: completely immersive entertainment that transports the viewer to another world, or not necessarily another world, but a different type of world. Could you imagine I could just set up a 360-degree camera and a live YouTube stream, and it would be like you were hanging out in the studio while I was recording the podcast? How cool would that be? One of the unique things about YouTube Live is, as a user, you don't need to do anything. Open the YouTube app on your mobile device or launch it on the web and you're ready to go. There's no fancy technology to purchase or integrate, which when YouTube was talking about that, it was definitely a stab at Facebook's Oculus Rift, which offers cutting-edge virtual reality experiences, but it costs $5.99 and you have to have a gaming PC to run it. Now, if you already have one, that's cool. If you don't, you're going to drop about $1,000 trying to get that. Consumption is only one side of the puzzle for YouTube, though. Creation is the other. At launch, YouTube's Live 360 product will work with cameras that cost as little as $350, which is way, way less than the $17,000 camera that Facebook showed off at F8. YouTube is also releasing an API so that any hardware maker can integrate Live 360 into their product. This is the thing about Google. Google's philosophy is be everywhere. Be everywhere that the people that can use, generate, and create your content are going to be. They do not care what device you use, and they try to make it to where your average Joe can buy it. Why do they do that? Because they want you to make content and put it on YouTube, because that's where they get their money. They want you to become a YouTube creator. They want to offer you to come to their makerspace if you get a big following. They want to give you the chance to join them in a joint venture where they make a butt ton of money and you make a good, decent amount of money and everybody's happy. They also said that they're going to deploy 360 cameras to the YouTube spaces so that their current creators that are in those spaces can start playing with the new feature, which is probably how they'll announce it, and how they'll probably do some extravagant, cool, awesome thing with PewDiePie and all the other creators that they've got contracted out into their YouTube Red to bring people in and fully experience the 360 Live video and how it's going to work. To make Live 360 work, YouTube has announced a slew of technical changes. It's upping the resolution and frame rate that creators can send to 1440p and 60 frames per second. It's also turning on support for Dash and VP9 integration, which basically what that means is that broadcasters will need to send about half as many bits to deliver a super high quality stream. It's kind of a compression mechanism. The support for the Live 360 is leading up to Google's I/O conference, which is going to be in May. It's widely expected that Google is going to unveil its plans for the next generation of VR on Android, and we don't exactly know what it's going to be, or we don't exactly know that they're going to do it for sure, but it would make sense for this device to sit somewhere between Samsung's Gear VR and the higher-end devices like the Oculus. This approach is like everything else that Google does: launch first, improve later. They've put that strategy in place for VR hardware as well. Google Cardboard isn't really anything. It's not in the same league as Oculus Vive or PlayStation VR or anything like that, but it's also shipped over 5 million units, which is more than anything the other competitors could even dream of. Next VR has a more immersive Live 360 stream, but it charges a pretty penny, and it carries around a bunch of gear. Basically, you need a broadcast truck for it. So YouTube's going to start working with cameras like the 350 Ryko Theta and the $500 Ali and the $1,800 Aura 4i. This will work with the kind of high-end cameras that folks like NextVR use, but the cool thing is that it will also work with the low-end stuff like Theta. You can live stream 360 of your kid's concert, or set up a camera next to the sideline of your soccer game and stream it 180. They're trying to get the hype set up before they start this huge conference that they do every year. And to be honest, I'm super excited for Google I/O. I love it, and I'll probably cover quite a bit of it on an episode next month. And so I'm just... what a world we live in. Again, I'm saying this again. I said it last episode, and I'm saying it again. What a world we live in. Virtual reality is becoming reality. Comic book movies are the rage. Star Wars is coming out again. I mean, it's just, there are so many things that I never really thought I would see or wouldn't see mainstream happening that I just can't express it. I'm just going to stop trying. I'm going to stop talking because I'm going to make a fool out of myself because I literally cannot express how freaking awesome it is. What a time to be alive, guys. What a time to be alive. Okay, I'm not going to say that anymore. I know you're probably like, bro, come on, dude. Why are you still saying that crap? Lay off.
At midnight Saturday, the telephones in this city will be changed to dial service, and all telephone numbers will be changed.
All right, so we are coming up to the end of the show, and as is usual, I am going to do an app review. And the app that I'm reviewing this week was actually suggested to me by my friends over at the Crises vs. Blut show. And so I just want to give a special shout out to them. Thank you guys for bringing this app to my attention, and I'm going to try to do this app review justice. The app is called Wunderlist, spelt Wunderlist. And this app is fantastic for people that are like me. And what does like me mean? I am the worst planner possibly on the face of the planet. I am just horrible. I will say yes, do it, forget. I constantly during my day, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to put that in my mental checklist. I need to do that when I get home. I do not do it. The next morning, I'm like, man, I really needed to do that. I'm going to put it in my mental checklist for tonight, and it takes forever for it to get done. So the cool thing about this app is once you download it, and you have to sign up, but I've signed up and I got one email to verify my email address. Haven't got anything else, but signing up allows you to sync with other people. It allows you to save it, so your phone crashes, you're still going to have your lists, and then you can create different lists. So I have a movies to watch list. So somebody says, oh, hey, check out this movie, dude. And I'm like, okay, and I'll go in and I'll type it in there. I have a grocery list on there. I have a to-do list on there. And I have a podcast list on there. So certain things with the show that I want to do that I'll think about during the week, but I don't necessarily have time to do it. I'll go in and I'll type it in my little podcast list. And then I can go look at it later, or I can tell it to alert me on said day at said time. And once you do something, you can check it off, but it doesn't delete it. It keeps it in your completed to-dos list, which is really cool. It's a really good app, and I've had a lot of luck with it, and it's actually kind of helped me out this week, balancing different things that sometimes I struggle with. So if you're like me and you really, really need help planning your days out, download this app. If you're not like me, but you just want to have a cool list app, download this app. Again, it's called Wunderlist, spelled Wunderlist. So go check it out. If you enjoyed the show, please show me some love by liking, thumbs up, subscribing, sharing, rating, reviewing, retweeting, or whatever it is that's used to symbolize the love of the show on the platform you're using to view it. You can follow me on Twitter at JohnnyM_Revo and at Facebook.com/JustJohnPodcast. You can find the show in its entirety at JustJohnPodcast.com, and you can listen to the show on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, YouTube, Stitcher, Spreaker, or some other shit. You can email me at JustJohnPodcast@gmail.com, and remember, without you, I'm just some dude talking to himself on the internet. Until next time, peace out, fam.